In this video, you'll receive training about using Kronos to request time off, to request a punch in or out, to request a lunch deduction cancellation, to request a conversion of overtime to comp time, and to review your timesheet near the end of a pay period. When you log into Kronos, you'll arrive at your main dashboard. On your main dashboard is a link to your timesheet, an area to request time off, and your current accrual balances. If you click the Training tab, you'll have access to different documents on how to use Kronos. Click the little down arrow to download a file. For more information on how to use Kronos, you can go to the intranet, click Departments, Treasurer's Office, Financial Operations, and Kronos. In here, you'll have access to a variety of documents and instructional videos. To go back to the main dashboard from the Training tab, simply click Home. We'll first look at how to request time off. To start the process, click My Time Off. A moment ago, we showed how to look at your accrual balances. You can also take a look at your accrual balances here under Accrued Balances Details. The type of leave I'm interested in using is personal leave, so I do a quick check to see if I have enough time, and I confirm that I do. Then I click the icon under Time Off Type. And here I have different selections available. Please note that FMLA-related time off should only be requested if you've been approved for FMLA by Human Resources. I'll click Personal Leave for this example, then I click Start Request. Under Request Type, click the down arrow. You have access to 3 different types of selections. The first is full day. I select that, and in a day, it'll populate with my standard hours per day. Under multiple days, I can select, as it indicates, multiple days. However, please note that these should not span weekends, holidays, time worked, or any other type of time off. Under partial day bulk, you can select up to your standard hours per day. However, please note that any time off requested plus any time worked on a particular day should not exceed your standard hours per day. This example, I'll enter 4 hours. A comment is not required. However, it can be entered. And then I click Submit Request. After the request has been sent, but before it has been approved, the request will have a dotted line around it. The approver will receive an email letting them know that you have a time off request, and it will have a link that will allow them to approve the time off request. To modify or cancel a time off request before it has been approved, click on the time off request, and either click Delete to delete it, or click Modify to modify it. There you can change the time off type or change the number of hours, and then click Modify Request. Once the request has been approved, however, the modification or deletion will need to take place in a different manner, which we'll show you in a few minutes. Once your approver has approved your request, you'll receive an email similar to what's shown here, indicating that your request has been approved. This will also be the case for other such requests, such as timesheet change requests or conversion of overtime to comp time or lunch deduction cancellations. After your request has been approved, when you log into Kronos and then look at your calendar, you'll see that the request now has a solid color, indicating it's been approved. You can also confirm it by going back to the main dashboard, clicking My Timesheet, and then going to the pay period for which the time off request was made. So in this example, I have to click the right arrow to go to the next pay period. And here I see that the leave has been successfully entered. To change it, I click Change Request. Modify time off. Click Expand All, the right arrow. I don't enter anything in the from or to areas. I can change the amount of time. In this case, I'll say 3 hours, as well as the type of leave requested. Select comp used and click submit changes. So now we're looking at the timesheet after the approval has been made, and we see that the time has been reduced from 4 hours to 3 as requested, and the time off has been changed from personal leave to comp, which is according to the request. Now, if you'd like to cancel the time off request, simply go to change request. Under change type, click cancel time off, expand all, select the box. It does require a comment in this case. And click submit changes. Once again, looking at the timesheet after the approval has been made, we see that the time off request has been deleted. Also, we go to the time off calendar. We see that there's no entry for the 7th, so it has been successfully deleted. Now we'll look at how to request a lunch deduction cancellation. Click My Timesheet, go to the pay period for which you want to cancel the lunch deduction. In this case, it's for the current pay period, and it's for Tuesday, February 22nd. I noted to the approver that I was going to work through lunch, and she approved it. So I click change request, modify cost center, expand all, then I select the day that I want to cancel the lunch. Click the down arrow, browse, 0, then note a reason. Now, after the request has been approved, I see that there's 8 hours in the calculated total area, in this case, because the employee is an 8-hour-a-day employee. But more importantly, I see that there's 0 in the lunch break area. So all this indicates that the lunch break has been successfully canceled. The next thing we'll look at is how to submit a request for a missed punch. Click My Timesheet. In this example, I see that there's a missed punch on Monday, February 21st. In fact, if I hover over it, it shows this is a missed punch. And also the box is kind of grayed out. And also see it's a missed punch because under calculated total, there's 0. So it's not giving me any credit for that day. To fix that, I click change request, select add punch out because it's at the end of the day. Select the correct date. And then I enter the time that I left work for the day. It's important to ensure that this area is correct, the AM and PM area. In this case, because it was the afternoon that I left, I click the AM and it turns to PM. Under comment, write a brief comment explaining why the swipe was missed. And then click submit changes. Looking again at the timesheet, after I have received an email noting that my change request has been approved, I see that the swipe out time is now entered. I also see under calculated total that I'm getting credit for the day as it has 8 hours. The next thing we'll look at is how to convert overtime to comp time. I click on My Timesheet to go to the current timesheet. And here I see that there's an overtime flag. Please note that you can only convert overtime to comp time on days which have this yellow overtime flag. You cannot convert overtime to comp time on any other days. For example, I worked my normal hours of 8 hours on Friday, March 4th. I actually worked over my scheduled hours per day on Tuesday, March 1st. I worked 10 hours instead of 8. But that wasn't when I accrued overtime. I accrued overtime when I crossed 40 hours for the week. And that happened on Friday, March 4th. So Kronos makes calculations and it will correctly show when you have accrued overtime. And then, and only then, will this overtime flag appear. So to keep it simple, you can only convert overtime to comp time on days which have this overtime flag. So to make that conversion request, I click change request, select modify cost center, expand all, and then once again, I select the day that has that yellow overtime flag. And under activity, I click Browse and convert overtime to comp 1.5. A comment is required. It can be extremely brief. Then click Submit Changes. Now, after you have received an email noting that the approver has approved your request to convert overtime to comp time, once you come to your timesheet, you'll see that the Convert Overtime to Comp 1.5 is under Activity, which is as you requested. More importantly, however, when you go to the Summary by Day area, you'll see that the amount of time that you worked over that week has been converted to Comp 1.5. So those 2 hours times 1.5, that is 3 hours, will be added to your comp time balance. One other thing to note with converting overtime to comp time is before making that request, you should check your comp time balance. For classified employees, there is a 40-hour comp time balance limit. And for classified supervisors, there is a 240-hour comp time balance limit. So you never want to request conversion of overtime to comp time if it would result in you going over your balance limits. The final thing we'll look at is reviewing your timesheet. It's a good idea to review your timesheet near the end of a pay period. So say it's Friday, March 4th, and I'm doing a quick look at my timesheet to make sure it accurately reflects the time off I've requested and the hours that I've worked. Everything looks okay except up here for Thursday, February 24th. And there I remember that I had left my badge at home that day, so I wasn't able to swipe in or out. So those are the type of things that you can fix as you progress through the pay period. But it's also a good idea to double check at the end of a pay period just to make sure that everything is taken care of. So in this case, I'll make a request for an add punch in and an add punch out. And after I receive the emails indicating the approver has approved those requests, I log back into Kronos and I see that the punch in and the punch out have been added. I also look and I see that the hours look correct to me, including the calculated total at the top. And also when I look at it at the summary by day, it looks okay to me as well.